everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a real-time acrylic design. I've just done the one nail, but I've left it in real time as it often does get requested. So I really hope you all find the video helpful. I haven't also had the time to do many full sets at the moment as I've just been super busy, so it's been a little bit easier for me to do these single nail designs, as then I'm still able to get some content up on my channel, but hopefully soon I will be able to get some more full set designs up on here. Now the acrylic system I'm working with today is Wowbao, and here I'm coming in with their Wow Yellow, and I'm just going to apply this at the tip of the nail and fade it back. Now this colour did marble ever so slightly, nothing major to be honest, and as you were working with it, the pigment helped. It helped the pigment mix back in with the acrylic, if that makes sense. If you've ever had an acrylic marble, you'll know what I mean. It just comes across as the pigment separates slightly from the acrylic, but I only really noticed it when I popped the bead of acrylic down. So when I'm blending it back here, it's pulling all of that pigment back into the acrylic, so it wasn't nothing too tricky to work with. So as you can see, I'm just painting that colour on, working with it very thin because I knew I wanted to come over the top of this colour with some glitter. So I didn't want to build up the colour too much. Now when it comes to Wowbao, I have struggled a little bit personally cracking the ratio. I just find that my beads always feel a little bit too wet even if I drain the back of them. But this also could be because I personally am used to working with a drier system. The Wowbao system is absolutely amazing to work with. I just feel I need to still sit down and crack the ratio for it just to be able to get the true potential of the acrylic. Now here I come in with another small bead just to blend it back a little bit more because I didn't want there to be a harsh line where that yellow ends, because I'm going to be fading another acrylic over the top. As you can see, I've been able to apply that yellow acrylic nice and thin, and that's because the Wowbao acrylics are very highly pigmented, which is one of the things I love about them, especially when it comes to design work. So over the top of that Wow Yellow acrylic, I'm going to apply some glitter. So this particular glitter is Lemon Sorbet from Glitterstella, and I've just picked that up with a teeny tiny bead of the Wowbao clear, and I'm just applying it over the top of the yellow acrylic. Just making sure all of the pieces are lying nice and flat. I did decide to come in with a little bit more glitter just to build it up because I wanted it to be super sparkly. Now the additional glitter that I picked up, I just picked that up using my wet brush. I didn't need to add any additional acrylic because that acrylic we've just applied is still tacky. So I'm able to press those glitter pieces down into that. But I'm just making sure that they're all lying nice and flat, and I'm happy with how they're all placed. Keeping my sidewalls nice and neat with every layer that I do, because then it's going to be a lot easier when it comes to encapsulating, and it's also going to mean that you're not going to end up with any bulky sidewalls. That's going to mean that you're going to have to spend more time filing. So I always like to just make sure my sidewalls are nice and neat. Over the top of that glitter, I wanted to tap on some butterflies. So I'm using these gold butterflies, which are also from Glitterstella, and I'm just picking these up using my wet brush. Ideally, it would have been better to place these down into a little bit of clear acrylic because my clear acrylic that I'd applied with the glitter had already set. So these just wasn't holding in place. As you can see, this particular one keeps sticking to my brush, so I keep having to repress it down. I do in the end just come in with a teeny tiny amount of clear acrylic, just pop it over them to hold them in place because they just kept moving around and I couldn't get them placed how I wanted them to be. So yeah, if for next time I would just definitely come in with a teeny tiny amount of clear acrylic just to apply them with. So this was where I decided just pop down a tiny amount of clear acrylic just to help place them down because they just wasn't setting. And ideally you do want them to set in place before you come to encapsulating, because otherwise you just end up moving them around and pulling them off. So just popping that bit of a clear acrylic down just helped keep them in place whilst I was still working on the design. Then you can see that I'm easily able to push those little butterflies into place. Now I am going to leave that clear acrylic to set for a minute, just so that when I come in with my nude acrylic to create the fade, I'm not going to pull those butterflies off. So the nude acrylic I'm using does have a sparkle in it as well. I believe this one is called Crown Sparkle, but I will double check and leave it in the description box below. It's a really pretty peachy nude with a colourful shimmer running through it. So first of all, I come in with a really small wet bead just to create that fade over the glitter. And then I'm working in small beads until I've covered the entire natural nail bed area. So with my second bead, you can see that I'm blending it in, and then I'm using a really gentle touch to pull that down the nail. I don't want to take it too far over the glitter, but I want to create a nice fade. And I quite liked the effect it gave off with one of those butterflies being underneath the nude acrylic. I just thought it looked really pretty. So I'm then going to come in with my cuticle bead. As you can see, I'm working with quite small beads just because I found that a little bit easier. But when it comes to the cuticle bead, I worked with a more medium-sized bead just so I could build up the coverage of the acrylic as well. So I'm using the very tip of my brush, tapping that up into place around that cuticle area, leaving the bulk of it where I've placed it down for the coverage. And then I'm just blending the top of that bead of acrylic down ever so gently. As you can see here, the video, like I said, is in real time. So I'm using really soft, gentle, feathery strokes. And it just creates a really nice, soft, subtle, shimmery fade over the glitter that we've already applied. Now, as you can see at the sides, it does look a little bit patchy. I do come in and fix that up slightly further along. I was just making sure that I was happy with the fade at this point. Then I'm just going to use small beads of acrylic just where I wanted a little bit more coverage. The yellow is very pigmented, so you could still see that ever so slightly through the nude here. So I just come in with small beads just to cover that yellow a little bit more, blending that into the acrylic that I've already applied so there's no patchiness. Just really pressing that down so it blends nicely in, and then again using that light feathery stroke to blend it down over the yellow. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this side as well. Now let me know in the comments below whether you like these real-time videos. When I asked on my channel quite a while ago what people wanted to see, more real-time videos were requested, and I will do my best to try and get some more full sets up in real time as well. But when I'm doing these single nails, it's a lot easier for me to leave these in real time rather than leaving a full set in real time. So let me know if this is something that you would like to watch, because obviously I want to create videos that you all enjoy watching. Now that I've finished applying the nude, I'm going to come in and encapsulate. So I'm starting off at the very tip of the nail, place down my bead of clear, and as you can see, I'm pressing it out from side to side, making sure it covers the very sides of the nail tip. These nail tips have quite a deep C curve in them, so you do need to pay attention that you're really encapsulating all the way around. Otherwise, when it comes to filing, you're going to end up filing off your glitter. So I'm just making sure to focus on the very sides, especially at the tip of the nail, because that's where the deepest part of the C curve was. Then I'm just going to work my way up the nail until everything is fully encapsulated and I'm happy with the strength and structure that I've built up. So here I'm placing down my next bead, blending it out slightly at the back of the bead as I tap it from side to side, and then I'm pulling it down to blend it out. I don't need to fully encapsulate all the way up to the cuticle area because the Crown Sparkle is a core powder, so technically that doesn't need to be encapsulated, but I needed to make sure that my glitter and the fade was fully encapsulated, otherwise we would ruin it when it comes to filing. So with this particular bead, I'm only placing a thin amount there to encapsulate because I don't need to build up too much bulk there. I had built up a fair bit of my apex using the Crown Sparkle already. So I'm just blending that out, trying to get my application as neat as possible, as then there's going to be less finish filing to do. Again, always using quite light feathery strokes if I don't want to move too much of the acrylic around, if I'm just blending it out. I then left the acrylic to fully set, and off camera I done all of my filing, buffing, and gave the nail a good scrub to remove all of the dust, and we're now ready to come in and top coat. Now in this particular design I did want to add a few crystals, so when it came to choosing my top coat I decided I would go with my Kiki London No Wipe Rubber Top Coat because I love this top coat for setting flat back crystals. Because it's a rubber top coat, it's ever so slightly thicker than your regular top coat, and I've just found it a really quick and handy way to set flat back crystals. I've done it on myself and they hold in place for the duration of the set, and it's just a lot easier in my opinion than applying a jewelry gel and then your top coat. So this is just how I'm loving doing it at the moment. So I'm making sure to apply a nice even layer of this. Because it is slightly thicker, I like to make sure I go over it a few times with the brush just to make sure I've got a nice smooth application. I do have to say it's one of those top coats that does self-level absolutely beautifully by the time you have popped it into cure anyway. Then into that uncured top coat, I'm going to pop down a couple of Swarvoski crystals. I've had these one in my kit for ages. They was an autumn mix. I can't even remember where they come from now, but I felt as though the orange and the yellow looked very summery, and the yellow matched the glitter I'd used perfectly. So I opted to use those today. So as you can see, I'm just placing them down and then nudging them around. I'm not doing nothing special, just a little cuticle cuff, I think you would call it. And then once I am happy with how they are placed, I'm going to pop this in to cure for 60 seconds. And then I'll show you guys the finished result. Obviously, if you were doing this on yourself or a client, once you had finished top coating, you could come in and apply your cuticle oil. But I'm going to skip that step because I'm working on my flexi hand. As always, I will do my best to list all of the products I've used in the description box below. So do check that out if there's any particular product you're wondering what it is. Now the weather has turned quite grey and rainy here in the UK, so I really enjoyed doing this bright design. Please do let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. I really hope you're all doing okay and keeping safe and well. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, then please do give it a thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you hit that subscribe button. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.